The turkey sat steaming in the center of the table, surrounded by casseroles and cranberry sauce that had been passed down with the same care as our family expectations. The room was warm with chatter, clinking glasses, and the occasional, familiar sharp laugh from my younger brother, who had always liked being the center of attention. He leaned back in his chair and, with perfect timing, announced, "I'm the most hardworking and admirable person in this family." My parents clapped, beaming as if they'd witnessed a prophecy fulfilled. Their pride in him was almost performative, an echo of countless similar moments where his self-assessment went unchallenged. The room swelled with laughter and murmurs of agreement, validating him without question. I sipped my drink, listening, observing. For a moment I traced the patterns, the way my parents' eyes softened, the way cousins smiled politely, the habitual deference that had always been afforded to him. I recalled every tuition payment I'd made, the times I covered late rent, the small financial supports that made his life easier while mine had been more precarious. A faint irritation settled behind my ribs, but I held it with careful composure. Then I spoke. My voice was calm, even deliberately neutral. "Then you won't be needing the financial support and tuition money I send you every month." Shh. The effect was immediate. His drink froze halfway to his mouth. His eyes widened. A cough, a choke. Glass rattled against his hand, water sloshing dangerously close to the table edge. The laughter halted. For a heartbeat, no one moved. My parents blinked, caught off guard. Their applause dissolved into an awkward silence. My brother's cheeks flushed, a mixture of shock and embarrassment. He sputtered, searching for a joke, a recovery line. But the words didn't come. I did not move to reassure him. I did not offer a softening smile. My composure was intentional, a quiet assertion of boundaries that had been ignored for years. The room noticed. Even my parents, usually so eager to preserve his narrative of superiority, seemed hesitant to intervene. He set the glass down carefully, still rattled. For the first time that evening, he seemed small, uncertain, not humiliated in a dramatic, performative way, but made aware of limits he had never considered. The conversation shifted subtly. No one spoke of money again, no one commented on ambition. My parents exchanged glances, unspoken words passing between them. How had this boundary slipped into the center of the room without escalating into argument? Their habitual pride in him now felt complicated, layered with caution. I watched, noting the subtle recalibration. My brother fidgeted, his usual bravado replaced with awkward attempts at normalcy. His entitlement, so carefully cultivated over the years, had met a quiet, immovable boundary. Dinner continued. Laughter returned in small, polite doses, but the tenor of the room had changed. No one dominated the conversation, no one attempted to reclaim the old hierarchy. My brother spoke more softly, cautiously measuring each statement. And I, quietly present, unshaken, sipped my drink, aware that the subtle assertion of limits had shifted the dynamics of the family in a single, controlled moment. I reflected on the weight of restraint. Victory, in the traditional sense, was not mine. I had not humiliated him, I had not created a spectacle. But leverage had been reclaimed. Respect had been nudged into alignment with reality, and entitlement had been confronted without a single dramatic gesture. The room had absorbed it, even if no one spoke aloud. By the end of the meal, the air had a different tension. Conversations were quieter, glances more measured. My brother avoided eye contact more than usual, cautious in his words. My parents resumed their roles, but with a subtle acknowledgement that the equilibrium had shifted. I understood then that control in family dynamics is never about loud triumphs or dramatic reversals. It is quiet, careful, cumulative. It comes from the precise assertion of boundaries, from measured timing, from observing the smallest cracks and stepping into them with clarity. As I cleared my plate, my brother passed by. Our eyes met briefly. No apology, no confrontation, just recognition, muted, private, undeniable. The balance had shifted, but only enough to remind him that some privileges are contingent and that support, however freely given, is not obligation. Dinner ended, dishes were cleared, and life would proceed as usual, or as usual as it could after a subtle but meaningful disruption. I felt no gloating, no satisfaction in cruelty. Just awareness that, the quiet acknowledgement that in a room full of entitlement and expectation, a calm assertion of boundaries can have consequences that resonate longer than any shout or rebuke. And as I left the table that night, I knew the story was not over. There would be adjustments, recalibrations, unspoken negotiations. But in that moment, I had done something rare. I had drawn a line, enforced it without spectacle, and the room had seen it. The power shift was quiet, precise, and real, a restraint that demanded recognition without needing to be loud.